Hello, hello. I am back for more pages. A little later than usual, because I completely missed my alarm, which is fine. Also, I'm sorry if there's a little bit more background noise than usual. They're doing something different across the street today. They're doing construction, but it's not the same as usual. I don't know exactly what they're doing. But yes, there might be more background noise, and I'm sorry about that. My plan for today is to sketch some pages and maybe do some inking. I haven't decided. It will depend how I feel, like what I feel like doing as I go. I have 4. And I did the panels and the text already. So it's just all the sketching now. That's a bit too much. That's good. And I have my little color reference on the side, as well as my previous panels, because there's 2 for Mari's mom, whose name I still haven't written down actually. Well, I have, but not at my desk. And I think she's gonna be wearing very similar clothes. All that. So I don't have a model sheet for her, like a clean reference. I probably should. I don't know how much she's going to appear in later chapters, and for now she's only in a few panels. She's like here, here she's from the back, so it's not very complex. Here again, and in this one you don't see her, she's speaking here, but so yes, that's my plan for the day. Hi! My naming process for the characters. Ooh. It's based entirely on vibes. Mostly. For their first names, for Billy, I had an idea. I wanted her to be called Billy. For Mari, not really. I just wanted something fairly short. For their last names, I just looked up a random list of last names, picked one, and then Googled the combination to see if there was someone really famous with that specific name, and there wasn't. Billy is named Billy Sloan, and there's a journalist with that name, but I thought it wouldn't be really a similar kind of thing. And Mari is Mari Brandt, and that's a very common last name, so there wasn't anyone specific. Like, there were people with that name, but no one particularly famous. Never heard of Billy as a name before. Is it common in France? It is really not. It's written like this. It's a boy's name that would be very uncommon, but would be recognized as a masculine name. But it would be very unusual to have a woman named Billy. It's more of I think an American thing. Most famous example would be Billie Eilish. But no, in France it's really not. And then for their parents, I looked up random names. For my other comic, the characters are named Lucy, written like this, and Alexa. The reason for Lucy was that I wanted a name that could be easily changed into Lucy, Lucia, Luciana, all of that. I wanted something that was that had a lot of different versions for the different times she's lived in. And Alexa, I wanted something that sounded Greek and that could have existed at the time she was born. And I looked it up and it worked, but I wanted something that was also kind of modern, that wouldn't be too surprising to have in the modern times. So that was the thinking for that. And for their last names, I don't remember. Well, I still don't remember Lucy's last name at all, so I'm sure it'll come back to me, or I'll find whatever sticky note I wrote it on. I don't have a lot of characters with French names. Because Lucy has a sister who's named Ellen, and her niece is named Mila. Alexa has a friend who's named Marco. They have no last name because I didn't want to bother. And so far we've seen Marco in exactly one panel ever, so should probably make a character sheet for them like you did with these two. For the secondary characters, you mean? Because for Lucy and Alexa, I have an entire folder for them actually. It's here. For them, I went a little further in terms of outfit. I had an entire Pinterest board with clothes I wanted them to wear, like specific clothes for them. And I know I have, well, I don't know where it went, but when I did these, I had a ton of notes on my iPad before I wiped everything. I think it's still saved. I think it's in a PDF somewhere, but I just never look at it because it's handwritten and it's annoying to look through. It has everything but the name. Yeah. I don't do a lot of written character sheets. I usually do a mix of one character reference, what I would call a model sheet, with like a turn, some expressions, the colors, notes on their outfits, their accessories, and then a note in Obsidian with details about them, fun facts, random things. A little family tree, but very limited. Oh, and for Billy's sister Delilah, for her name, it was completely random. I saw it somewhere and I was like, oh, it's a cool name. It's gonna be Billy's sister now. Because I knew I wanted her to have a sister, but for the longest time I was like, how vague are we gonna be about it? I don't like this. I've done this part before. Wait, it's this one. Oh. But I also have for characters, I also do a lot of writing, and I have a list of names that I want to use at some point. So when I'm really not sure what I want to name a character, but I know it's going to be something important, I usually look through that. Because I had a project with an apocalyptic sort of setting, like with zombies and everything. And I wanted the main character, it's still technically in progress even though I'm not actively working on it. The main character is named Mercy because I thought it would be really cool. And I wanted to have names that were related in other stories. So I know, like, Charity is a name, that sort of thing. Nope. I never got to finish Mercy's story actually. Because it's a very, I have like an overview of all the events. I'm just struggling with what kind of format do I use to tell this story. Does it work better as a comic? Maybe as a book? I'm not sure. And there's a lot of things that need to be reworked because I started this when I was a teenager, so obviously a lot has changed. And my ability to tell a good story, a better story than when I was a teen at least. I think if you introduce more ghosts in the story, you should have their names reference the era, the setting they're in. Absolutely. Absolutely. The hardest part is getting the plot to the ghosts. Getting to a point where they can see ghosts. Because I want to make sure there's not like a million of them and just ghosts everywhere, and for some reason no one else has been able to find them before. Well, not no one else, because so far they've been going to famous locations. But as things evolve and like they get a reputation, they'll be going to different places that maybe aren't so popular. Because in, I think it was chapter 2, Billy made a list of all the places they could go to, and like the area where they're in university, neither of them come from there. So Mari is a bit more familiar with it because she's in her second year, but Billy was brand new to it, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna just look up what's famous around here. Which means that she would find some good places, but also only famous ones. And later people will recommend them places to go. But for that they have to make some friends. I've mentioned Abby before, and with how things are going, I think I can introduce her in chapter 9 or 10. But probably 9. I guess there's no overarching plot as of yet, other than Mari improving as a person. There isn't a big, all-encompassing plot, because that's a little too much for my ambitions for the project. Oh no. Oops. No. Oh, okay. We're gonna save. I want this to be kind of casual in the sense that there's no, like, big evil ghost, no anything that's, like, super dramatic. It's just them doing their club and being, like, normal people mostly. I do want them to go through their university career, I think it's called. So like they go through the entire 3 years, maybe 4, I don't know. And at some point, like, there will be time skips and there will be more of a focus on the ghost hunting thing they have going on. Part of that is with the Halloween extra I'm making for this year. Yes, in February. Where they're invited to a haunted house to investigate because of their reputation. And as that grows, it will take a more important part of their lives and there will be conflicts about that. Because one thing you will see in this chapter is that Mari isn't very happy about what she's studying. Like, she's got no real interest in it, but it's just like something to do. And she's the skeptic one. So there's going to be something about that, and there's also going to be something about what to do about the future once university is done and you have to be like a real adult. And I think I want to end on that, like how they grow as people throughout university and deal with the mix of school and ghost hunting and just general life things. And then it ends when they go out of university having made like a decision, sort of, about what to do. But there's gonna be no big evil ghosts or whatever. And yes, do remember to save. I don't know why I did that. It usually doesn't. Did I stop the... Yes, I did. Okay, so it's not that. Oh, it might be this one. Whatever, we'll see. If it crashes again, I'll just be sad. I also have another thing that's a lot more dramatic that I've been working on very, very, very slowly on the side. It's a short animation to a song. It's called The Woods by World's First Cinema. It's a great song. Definitely recommend. And I wanna... It's another version of what could happen in chapter 6. It's a very different vibe to the comic. It's a lot more sad. And obviously, since I'm working on it alone, it's progressing very slowly. Because I wanted to challenge myself and actually do it on my own. But that means that I have to do everything, even the parts that I really don't like. Mostly backgrounds. That's the wrong tool. This one I want. Oops. It's nice that your stream is on now. Usually most of the folks I watch stream at 3 AM. Yeah. That's the thing about time zones. A lot of my friends are asleep right now. My US friends, it's the middle of the night for them. And when they do wake up, it's the worst time for me, so I definitely understand that. But I think there's always someone on. I considered streaming later in the day so that there would be so that I would have more overlap with the American time zone, but I am quite useless after 6 PM, so I would just not do anything interesting and it would be really boring. If I do play games at some point, because I have a few friends that are interested, it will probably be later, like in the evening at some point, because that's when they're available. Oh, also, yesterday afternoon I listened to the table read for the project, and it was a lot of fun. We didn't do dialogue in the film that I did, so I was very interested to see how it would go. And there was a lot of things that I would have never thought about on my own that were mentioned, like the script being formatted a certain way and all of that. And so it was really interesting. If there are others, maybe I'll be able to come, but if they're at similar times, probably not. Well, it depends on the day. Also today I got coffee, and it's in a glass jar with a lid. So nothing bad happens. I have to ask then, are most of the projects you do comics, silent films, animatics? Yes, I do mostly comics. I do a little bit of illustration, but really not a lot. And for animation, my school film was silent, only based on music, and there was a singer. And for other things, I've only done like short, like 1 or 2 shots, never a long project by myself, only when helping others. In the film I helped with last year, both of them were voiced, but I did only clean up, so all the like lip sync was already drawn, and that was just, I worked on what they already had, and I wasn't really involved in the rest of the project because it was school projects for students, and I was just there to help. And for all the things I do on my own, there's never other people involved. What I mean to say is, when I plan a project, I usually don't plan for it to have a lot of people helping me on it, but I will ask my friends sometimes to like help me with specific things. But I'd be interested to do more short films with people. I think it's just hard to find serious projects. And not like, I think it's cool that people have a lot of ideas for animations they want to do, especially people who have like ideas for shows or really interesting concepts. But a lot of them are teenagers who've never really done a big project that lasts several years, and they just think like it's gonna be so quick and easy. And I'm like, it's You have no idea what goes into this, and there's like a million people on YouTube showing how they did a short that's like 3 minutes in a year. Go watch that and adjust your expectations, because it's not gonna be a 6-month thing. Cannot begin to tell you how many projects I've seen die at launch. It's a bit saddening. It is. Because a lot of them are great ideas, but a great idea doesn't do half of anything. I've had people looking for animators, and when I contact them, they have a pitch, and that's it. And they want to make like a full season of a show. And the pitch sounds interesting, but that's nothing. You don't need an animator at that stage. And I'm not gonna do anything else. Which is why for a while I stopped applying to animation project. I only applied to zines and events. Gonna give her a boring jacket sort of thing. I hate wearing these. They're way too tight at the neck, but it will do. It's why I like student projects also, because they have like a real deadline and teachers watching over the whole thing. So they have to finish. Feels like I choke in that. Yeah. Does she not have? Oh no. It's made of like an elastic material. I've had some of these before. But it's just... I think it's not very comfy. Okay, then you... I think I'm gonna color her hair in the first color. Would be fun. Okay. That's the sketch for page 1. Not sure what I'm gonna do for the backgrounds. In this one, there's a lot of text, like here. Oh, that's a no. So it doesn't really need anything else than a color, but for the others, maybe in this one I'll add a pattern. We'll see. Problem for later. What I'm gonna do is put it here so it's easier to reference. Have you ever put dithering patterns? I'm thinking of something, but I'm not sure that's what it is. Let's look it up. Dithering. Oh, okay. So that's one thing I wanted to have. Not exactly like this, but with the screen tones. Like this. Oh, that's gonna be way too small. The little dots that do a shade of gray, sort of, without being a flat color of gray. And Clip Studio has a lot of them, and a lot of brushes and things. And I could not figure out how to export it so it looked nice. So in the first few pages I used them, it looked fine in the program. Once exported, it looked weird, and I didn't like it. So I just removed everything, used only shades of gray. And I very recently learned how to actually export them so they look nice. So I might add some later. I just need to like look up the specific ones I want and have everything in like a folder ready to use, but I might, because I thought it would be really interesting to give like some texture without having to paint anything, because one of the important part of this was to have a limited palette of shades of gray. Actually, I'm gonna write that on a sticky note because I will forget the name. No, it's not sticky anymore. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. But yeah, I was very disappointed when I did all my lovely screen tones just to find out that I couldn't use them. I've been reading a lot of manga. I'd say a lot of comics, but it's not really the case. And a lot of them have really good use of the screen tones. So I want to try to do more things with them. Which, you can't see it, but I have like 15 new screen tone brushes on the side. I went on my little Clip Studio asset store shopping to find everything. Absolutely. You can do so much fun stuff with them. The thing is, I don't like doing color. I don't really like doing painting either. So even if I did only shades of gray, but I wanted a more rendered look, I'd have to do painting, which I don't enjoy very much. Not for characters, at least. For, like, environments, I think it's interesting. But having screen tones can add a lot of texture and interest without adding a ton of work or having me do colors. It's just me versus the export options. Okay. That's a missing panel, but I think... Okay. I just need to remember to add a white background to it when I do the final line art and colors. But that's in a while. I haven't been timing myself when I work on the comic recently. I think it was in December. I timed the extra I was doing, the Christmas thing. And I also timed a regular chapter, I'm pretty sure. I want to check it, but the spreadsheet is annoying to open. And in total, for a pretty short one, I spent 25 hours on it. About that, because some parts I forgot. Like when I was doing the text, I completely forgot to time it. I was like, okay, that's not so much. That's a reasonable amount of time for a chapter. But realistically, it's still a lot because it was a short one. So I haven't been really doing it recently because I'm like, oh, maybe it's better if I just don't know. I will keep tracking the steps and not the time. But it is good to know, so maybe I'll get back into it. I have a few projects that I want to do with other people eventually. And tracking the time everyone spends on everything is really useful to be able to estimate when you'll be able to release anything. Because one really good part of planning a comic is like planning the buffer, just so you're not rushing every week. And I think I talked about this yesterday. Last year I was doing a comic with a friend, with like a team, and the workload per week was 10 panels, which is not that much, and we still had like a good amount of panels per update. So I think that would be like a good way to work with other people, but I need to make sure that like everyone can do 10 panels a week consistently. Because one of the reasons the project didn't keep going was like people were not very invested in it. Like they kept having like other things that week, which I can understand, it's fine, but if you don't think you can really commit to it, just say so. Like, I'm sorry, I thought I would have the time and I just don't. Timing is good, though with timing you have to be confident with these numbers. Consistency is key. Yes, it really is. Especially with something that's like chapters like that. Like you expect to have a chapter at every certain time. And a lot of people who make comics will tell, like, when asked, like, it's better to be regular than to be frequent. Like, it's better to do one chapter every 2 weeks consistently than like one chapter a week for 2 months and then completely burn out and you don't do anything for 2 months. But usually when you're starting and you're really excited about your idea, it's not what you want to hear. Who's messaging me? Okay. It's my watch telling me I need to walk around more. And I haven't even been here an hour. What? I do go outside, just not right now. Also, how dare you? Maybe I'm a really active person who spends like half the day doing things outside. Maybe, but I'm willing to wager otherwise. Yeah. I don't take bets I'm not guaranteed to win, so... with my friends we do something called a shrimp check, where it's like you check your posture to make sure you're not like shrimping on your desk. And yesterday my friend Jackal reminded me. So I did it, and like the upper part of my spine cracked really badly. And then he made me do stretch checks every 20 minutes. Which is a good idea. More stretching is always good. You can make sure you can make shrimp fried rice now. I absolutely can, and I did for lunch yesterday, and I will for lunch today. Because I eat rice pretty much every day for lunch. Do I have a reference for their height? I don't. Oh well. I think it was in January, some point in January. There's a really big supermarket in my city that imports Asian products. Like the original ones, and they they print new labels for them. And I went and got myself, I think it was 8 kilos of rice, which was a very good purchase. Jasmine rice. I think that's what how you say it in English? I don't know. Something simple. My rice knowledge is quite limited. France does a lot more pasta and potatoes. I prefer cooking with pani boiled rice. What's the difference? I'm guessing the texture? Honey is much smaller. Oh, okay. Okay, I wasn't able to tell that from the pictures, I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching a lot of documentaries about history, and I found someone, I forgot the channel name, who does like the history of a specific food. And he did one on like potatoes, bread, and he did one on rice. It was really interesting to watch. I learned a lot of things, but the whole time I was like, all these things look delicious. And all we have in terms of rice dishes is like, you make it on the side of other things. We don't have, like, at least my parents never made anything interesting with rice. I love curry. I make it, well, not so much right now, but in winter I make it quite often. And I introduced it to my aunt and my grandpa, I think, was there as well. Because we were at his house, and everyone said, oh, it's your turn to make lunch. I was like, okay, but what I make for myself is really not what you make for you usually, so are you good with this? And they liked it. We made it vegetarian, I think. And I also got the little squares of Japanese curry, the little pre-mixed thing, basically. And I'm very excited to make that. Did I give her a jacket that I could reuse? Probably. Green curries are lovely to make. Not really practical to make for every day before college. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something you need to think of when you're planning what you're gonna make. The thing is that I work from home, so like if I want to make something that's really time consuming, I can just plan around it. And she wore it too recently. Does she have something before? That's that one. It's pretty simple, but it's gonna work. That way I'll have the color reference as well. When I went to school, I always made, well, not always, but for a while I made like all my meals to bring to school, which forced me to plan more of like my meals for the entire week. Because my school didn't have like a cafeteria or anything. We always had to bring our own things. I guess one advantage of living here is that groceries are cheapest at. Yeah, probably. I don't really know what the difference would be, because with the currency difference and also the variety in what food is available, it's really hard for me to get an idea of like what something is like worth in my own currency, especially when you earn in USD. Yeah, that's something right now. If I make $20, it's about 18 euros, which I hate. I wish something would happen. I don't know what side needs to have what happen to them, but that it would be the same. That $20 would be 20 euros. I would be so happy if that happened. Oh, I'm guessing that's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a lot. Okay, Mari, you're gonna be a little shorter than your mom. And that's the color 2. I've been thinking of resurrecting, well, not resurrecting because I threw it away, but like starting a new sourdough, like, culture thing. Like the little yeast thing that lives in a jar. Because I always fail at making bread, so I've kind of given up on that for now. But all the other things you can make with it, I kind of miss. Most kids outgrow their parents these days. That is true. I am taller than my mom, which is not very hard. I also found out that I am shorter than the French average now. Which I didn't used to be. I used to be the exact average height, which I was very happy about. Especially since my sister was convinced she was gonna be taller than me. Like, for years as kids, she would tell me like, oh, just you wait until I'm taller than you. Like, she had a goal in mind of how tall she wanted to be, and she believed in it really hard. And it wasn't that unrealistic, because like, our dad is a little taller than that. But she got my mom's genes, which make us short. Real short. And she's shorter than me. Which I will never let her forget. Alright, 28, 29 are done. 30. For this, I'm gonna change their outfits every panel. Oh. Okay, Google says 177 centimeters, which is tall as fuck. Oh, one thing I haven't decided is how Abby is going to be, how tall she's going to be compared to the others. Make her the tallest gentle giant. Maybe. I need to really decide on her design, like 100% this is how she's going to look. I mostly know, but some of the details I'm still not sure. Well, there's still a few pages before we meet her, so... Hi, welcome. The thing is that in the original, the very first comic I made for them, which was like kind of an extra now, they have a friend. And I look back at their design and it just doesn't feel like it should be Abby. It's a different vibe. Pronounce what specifically? Okay, what other outfits do I have for her? Do I not have a folder for her? Oh, I do. That's all the stuff for the Halloween designs. All of these are not very wintry. But I don't want to give her another same thing. The posters, the folder. Oh, it's because it's probably in the other. Nope. Oh, I think you're asking about pronouns, and I use they, them. Aya! Oh mon dieu! Tu t'es réveillée! Wow, j'y croyais si fort. Ça va? And yes, the comic is called The Ghost Hunting Club. I think there's a link in on my page on like the profile thingy. Oh là là, quelle déception. Mais quelle déception. Bah écoute, ça va. Je fais mes petites pages tranquille. Oh, I could give her this jacket. Non mais c'est pas grave, tu viendras demain. N'est-ce pas? Je suis sûre que tu seras réveillée. Attends. En plus, j'ai commencé plus tard aujourd'hui. You took French in school? Tout à fait. compte sur toi. C'est pour ton entretien aujourd'hui que tu m'avais dit? Four years, oh. Well, don't worry, I took like 8 years of German and I still speak nothing of it. To be honest, I don't understand why French is such a popular language to have in other countries in school. Because, like, I don't think it's very useful in terms of like jobs and things. Ça c'est vendredi. Oh, aujourd'hui je dois avoir des potes et je dois être à l'heure. Non mais. Non mais. Elle se fout de nous. Tu t'es réveillée avant midi. It's easier to understand from English. Oh, I wouldn't think so. Maybe. Oh. J'ai rendez-vous dans 1 heure, je suis toujours dans mon lit. Eh ben, bouge-toi. Bouge-toi sérieusement, parce que te connaissant, 1 heure c'est carrément pas assez pour que tu te prépares. I'm teasing her because the other day we were supposed to meet at 2:30 in front of a specific store and she got there at 3. And the rest of us got there at 2:30. Well, most of us. There were 5 people, 3 were on time, 1 was slightly late, and then Aya was very late. Which is her natural state, so. Not my fault, though. It's absolutely your fault. How would it be not your fault? You even picked the time. You said 2:30. You should time yourself. We were together in school and in the film we did, and we had several times during the year where we had to do presentations, and it started at 8 a.m. sharp. Like you had to be in the room at 8. If you were not, they wouldn't let you like go in. And we were all very worried about being late or like missing it by accident and everything. And so we put a lot of pressure on her, and she never missed one. She was always on time. You could time yourself. Bon, après, sinon, tu peux te dire qu'il faut que tu y sois une demi-heure avant. Hein. Mais genre pour de vrai, quoi. Et bah, il te reste une demi-heure. I think her eyes should be higher. Oops. I always struggle drawing her, even when I did the little advent calendar thing. I don't know why. What kind of boring, simple top can I give her? Internet, save me. Give me something. You'll see. You'll see. It's much worse. Oh, that's really ugly. I'm gonna give her that. I want Mari's mom to have like negative sense of style. I say as if I have any sense of style myself. Who is he? What? Takes one to know one. Yeah. I'm not pretending that I know anything about dressing well in real life. Designing character is a different thing, but in real life I have one outfit. Like a cartoon character. Wearing one thing is just easier, mate. I don't really know people plan all kinds of different outfits. Not my style. It's just a lot less energy to put into picking anything. But it can be like fun to pick things out as well. Just not for every day. How old am I gonna make her? I don't know. Kind of old. I think I like the idea of having an interesting style more than I like actually doing it. Because if I'm honest with myself, what matters most is comfort. Like, am I gonna be comfy in these clothes for the whole day? Or am I gonna get tired of them after 2 hours, no matter how cool I look? And that's how I pick what I actually wear, rather than what I would like to wear. In my profile picture thing, pretty much everywhere right now, I have a flower crown. And I'm thinking of adding it to my avatar. As well as like a cooler outfit. Of things that I think are so cool, but I can't wear anywhere. Oh, this one is gonna be really annoying to draw. But I think it looks too interesting to replace it with anything else. That's the kid yelling as loud as they can. I think it will be easier to read when there's the lines and like the text formatted better. But yes, that's the child. Not being happy about the situation. And didn't take you as much of a gamer. What would you play on stream? My friend suggested Gartic Phone, but I don't know how well it would work considering we all know how to draw. And games I play regularly are Genshin and Warframe, so probably either one of those. Or like oh, what's the name? The one with the bees. I completely forgot what it's called, but it's like a game where you raise little bees. The internet will help me. Ah, this one. It's called Apico. It's so cute. You're a little like city person who goes back to your original island with your grandparents to raise bees. Oh, dis donc, bien. Eh ben, amuse-toi bien. Et dis-moi sur Discord si tu veux qu'on discute cet après. And so it's so cute, and you have like little different kinds of bees and different kinds of flowers and like so many things to build. It's adorable. Yes, it's kind of the same vibe, but it doesn't have... One thing I find a little stressful in Stardew is the time that passes really quickly. There are like specific dates to get things done and like events and things, and it's very fun, but I always find it stressful because I want to do everything and I don't have the time to do everything. But in this one, like, the days just pass and nothing really, at least from what I've seen, nothing really happens without you. Like, events and people will wait for you to get to them and reach the milestones that they have, which I like a lot. So yes, this one is so cute. But yes, that's my kind of vibe. But I don't know if I would be very interesting to watch when I play, because I get really focused in the game and I forget about everything else. I'm also pretty bad at them. For stuff like Warframe specifically, but ninjas in space are just so fun. I remember playing Warframe 6 years ago. That's a long time. I only found out it existed last year. And there is so much. So much. I haven't played in a little while because what's it called? The thing with the lady on the radio. Maybe you have no idea what it is actually. But the sort of the season thing. I wanted to get the Warframe slot that they had, but it was several levels further than what I was at. And when I realized it was like there were 4 days left or something like that. So I thought, oh well, next time. But then I didn't open it again for like a month at this point. I can only get myself to play story games now. Ooh, what kind? What are your favorites? I don't play many story games, but my partner plays a lot of them, and I will usually watch most of it if I find it interesting. So for her, Ooh, that would be fun. A shirt with a design around the collar. And then something on top, maybe? I don't know the first two. At least not by name. And of course, Pokemon games I do know of. I played... Ooh. I don't remember, a DS one. Not Pearl, the other one that went with it, I think. I'll look up the other two later to see what they're about. Lisa is a grim dark. Inscription is a card game. Okay. I'll be real, card games require too many brain cells for me. Might be Sapphire that you played. Maybe? Me and my sister shared the cartridge. And we would like name the Pokemons together. And argue for who had the coolest name idea. But then one day we just lost it. They already have names. Why more names? Because you could give them like nicknames. And I was like 12, so the Pokemon, the original names weren't cool enough for me. It's probably also one of the reasons why I don't know any of their actual names today. You tell me, oh, that's this Pokemon, I'm like, let me Google that, because I don't know who it is. Because I'm just old-fashioned. A lot of people are very specific about their Pokemons. Okay, I don't want to do this one, actually. So I'm gonna do some inking for a little bit. And then go have lunch. The conference I have today got pushed to lunchtime, like 12. And I only noticed yesterday. But good thing I checked. And 25. Okay, perfect. They're always really interesting, the conferences, but they're very short. It's like 45 minutes. So it's really intense. I'm just taking notes the whole time. What's your work? Oh, it's not for work, it's a YouTube thing, because I have a YouTube channel where I post like once a week. And once you reach a certain amount of like, there's 2 levels to monetize your channel, and a certain amount of stats and things you have to reach. And once you have that, you can get invited into other programs for like creators, people who are like invested in their YouTube thing, not just posting videos they have from other things. So it's that. It's an introduction to basically making stuff on YouTube, kind of. It is interesting because they answer a lot of questions. And the work I do is like data entry. So has nothing to do with that, and they certainly don't do conferences. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I was very surprised to be invited to something like that, because all my content is in English. Well, like the descriptions and everything, they're not translated. And the one video I have with voiceover, it's full English. But apparently it doesn't matter what language you do your content in, only what country you're in. Interesting. Yeah, I thought it was a scam at first. Because if you have like social media accounts as a creator where you're somewhat active, you get the messages like, oh, let me help you grow your follower count, whatever. Like, ooh, I've seen your Instagram account. It looks so nice. We should collaborate. And they sell like jewelry. So I thought like it looked so fake. It was a well-made email and everything, but I was like, there's no way this is a real thing. But it is. Because the person responsible for it, like, is real. And I was able to find, like, the website for it, which was legit. But at first glance, I was like, there's no way. Yeah. I check when I get emails for things. I check if it's one real and not like some sort of scam or MLM thing. I haven't gotten a lot, but I have gotten some, especially on Instagram. And then if it's like interesting to me. Because recently, I think it was last year, a very popular French YouTuber climbed Everest and did a documentary about it, which I haven't watched. And he had like YouTube helped him to make the documentary. And one of the emails mentioned like, oh, we've seen like how interested people are in this type of stuff, and if you have a project like that, we would love to help you with it. Which is cool, but I'm never gonna make that. Or anything as I don't want to say ambitious, but like at such a large scale that you need a whole production behind it, like a production company and everything. So I thought, why are you reaching out to me? But it was just like a side thing, not the main content of the thing, the program. So yeah. I grew up in the time of everything on the internet is dangerous and a scam, so you should never believe anything you see. So I got into the habit of assuming everything is fake until I can prove it's like a real thing. I've tried and true methods, frick around and find out. I will not be doing that. I would rather not find out. I can do this one. Yes. How can I explain it? Basically, when you draw, like this is your arm, this is your little hand with a little pen. The idea is to not use your wrist too much to draw because it causes a lot of pain and it's harder to make nice lines. So you would want to use your elbow or ideally your shoulder. And in order to do that, it's easier if the screen, like the drawing, is at a certain angle. So this is my screen, and it's easier to do this move rather than like this. It's not as nice a line, it's harder to do, and it like puts your arm in an uncomfortable position. So if I turn my drawing so that what I have to draw is here, it creates smoother lines and an easier movement, and it means I'm less likely to have pain from drawing, because a lot of it goes into like posture and how you hold your pen and like not gripping it too tight, but it's also easier to do this. I usually don't get any well, my little arm like this with the best drawing. If I do get something painful, it's here in my elbow, but it's usually from like holding my phone wrong or typing at a weird angle, like with stuff on my desk not put very carefully. And it's so annoying to get rid of. So I try to be careful into everything that I do so that I don't cause it doing something else, because then I can't draw. But I don't get it from drawing, which I'm very thankful for. And I tried to organize my space, my desk, and all my things so that I wouldn't be more likely to get injured. But yes, I still try to be careful and like draw things with the least resistance in the way that I do it. So sometimes it means like everything is upside down and flipped and you don't really know what's going on, but it's the easiest for me to draw. I try to be really careful because when I was in high school, I had a friend who got injured in her wrist, I'm pretty sure. And she couldn't draw, write, or do anything for months. I was like, oh, that sounds miserable. Let's not do that. I'm not learning to draw with my left hand, so I have to keep the right one working. Speaking of, I should train dexterity. Can you train that? Or do you have like, you have it naturally and you can improve it, maybe? Of course you can. Oh. Well, I guess it makes sense. Most people don't bother, why would they? Yeah. For most things, it's already annoying enough to learn to do them on the easier side. Did I add these? Yes, okay. I think to an extent it's really useful. It'll help with machining on my end. How so? Lets me work with more tool on each hand. Maximum efficiency. Well, I guess also depending on how something is made, it's probably easier to reach it with one hand rather than the other. So it's good if you can use either of them. Speed. Nope. Because I don't know how much you can see of it on the stream, like depending on the quality. But the brush I use for this is the same as the line art brush, and it has like pressure, different pressure. And when I color, I don't use the maximum pressure for it, so it gives a little bit of texture, and I think it looks really nice. And it takes a million years, and sometimes I regret it, but overall I think it looks too nice to get rid of it. It's kind of a marker style a little bit. A mix between marker and pencil. And for her, I think. Number 6. Yeah, I wanted something That would be relatively simple, because this is just like coloring with very little details, no real technique to it. And that would use the same brush for everything. So I do the sketching, inking, and coloring with the same brush. Another way I like to keep it consistent. And because I save a lot of time on, like, the style being so simple means that I don't spend a lot of time on sketching, I don't have complicated line art, all of that. So I can spend a bit more time on coloring this way. Oh, I need to save. If it was something more detailed, I would never. Or if it was full color, that would drive me insane. A lot of the coloring I leave for the end, and I do it with like a documentary or a show, because this requires zero thinking and I can just focus on something else. Like watching people do a 3-hour overview of some drama I wasn't aware about and will never hear about again, but is fascinating for the 3 hours that I listen to it. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here for today and go have lunch before the conference. The end result is 4 pages of sketches. Oh no, I didn't do this one. 3 pages of sketches. I forgot. And 1 page lined and 1 panel colored. Well, it still needs a background color, but I'll pick that later. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you have a good time. I hope you maybe got some work done if that's what you were doing. I'll be continuing this tomorrow. I'll probably pick up from there unless I do this afternoon. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye!